Need some fresh paint but don't know where to start? Hi, I'm Caroline Gau in the Baird & Warner Glenbrook office. Today I'm visiting the shop of Benjamin Moore, JC Licht in downtown Northbrook, and I'm pleased to introduce you to Julie DiOrio. She's a lead color consultant and often described as the color whisperer. So Julie, thanks for coming out in the snow today. I really appreciate it. And I often tell my clients that fresh paint is the least expensive investment that you can make when selling your home. And recently I was talking to a neighbor and she told me all about the color whisperer and how she has this great service where they come into the house and do the color consulting at home. And that's really helpful. She was so thrilled about it. So Julie, can you tell us about that?
Of course. So the way the service works is you get an hour. And we usually say up to 4 to 5 rooms in an hour, but I'm pretty efficient. So it just kind of depends on the client. New construction typically takes longer. But I come in and we walk through the space and we talk about light. And I always ask some leading questions to sort of understand where the customer wants to be. Because I think of amongst everything, color's really subjective. So usually people have a feeling, I'll have a client say up front, I don't like green. That's gone, that's off the table, unless there's a really strong reason why they should be using it in terms of materials in the home. So we go through, we have a little talk, and then I start to pull out large sheets of color. Those leading questions actually help me narrow down because an hour is really not that much time. So I do a lot of work sort of in my mind behind the scenes, sort of thinking, do we face north, do we face south, thinking about what those problems might be. And then I pull the large sheets out and I explain to the client why and where, and we look high and low, and we sort of walk through. And then the biggest part of my service is making sure everything flows and works together. And then at the end of it, we lay it all out and I write it all down. And then I follow up with extra sheets so they can sort of revisit it at different times of day, because I'm really only there for 1 hour. Mm-hmm. On a day like this, people panic, but this is the reality of the Midwest. So to me, this is great. We're going to see what it feels like on a gloomy day, but then I like them to also take a peek at it when the sun's out and shining.
So Julie, if they tell you they want to do the same color paint through the whole first floor, mm-hmm. but after we've been talking about lighting, how do you manage that?
Well, it's quite possible. A lot of new construction, a lot of resale clients, right? They don't want to do 25 different colors. They want to simplify it. So we work that off large things that are not changing, right? We work that off the floor, we work that off the countertops, and it's not a difficult thing to do. It just, you have to make sure that you see it in every space and it holds up in the light. You can always make that adjustment if we need to, a lighter, darker. So it is possible, but you definitely need to see it in the space at different times of day.
Got it. Now, I know that you mostly work in-home at different houses with mm-hmm. your color and paint, but I know that wallpaper is making a huge comeback. Mm-hmm. So how are your customers incorporating wallpaper in their designs?
So paper is texture. It's not always pattern. Designers have used paper forever, but people are getting more comfortable with it because they got stuck in the 60s, 70s,
right?
With like the glue, people just gluing it on. But now it is texture, so it doesn't have to be pattern. I like to commit to wallpaper. People do accent walls, but in powder rooms, I think you do the whole room.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, right. It's really beautiful. That's where you can be bold because it's a small space you move through quickly.
And more pattern usually.
Yeah, more pattern. You always want to make sure that you leave space for the pattern to grow. So, make sure that if you have a low ceilings, maybe you don't do something that grows up because it might get stuck. I like inside bookcases if you don't want to go all out and put it in an entire room. It's a great place. Yeah, especially with textured papers. Bold pops of color. You can do it on the ceiling. Don't be afraid. Metallics are beautiful on the ceiling, especially in powder rooms where you don't get a lot of light, and metallics help reflect light. But I think when clients ask me to pick paper, I always say this. 1, you should definitely go through the books and take a peek and look at them. But 2, it's like art, right? So you go into an art gallery, it either speaks to you or it doesn't. So when you choose paper, make sure it's something that speaks to you. And if you're doing it from a resale perspective, I would lean more towards texture than pattern.
Got it. So when we were here getting ready today, we were looking around the shop and finding out all the different things that this particular local Northbrook store offers to, and they've been here for 100 years. Mm-hmm. And can you tell us some other reasons people might come into the store other than paint that we might not know about?
So 16 of our locations have design centers. So it's incredible to come in. They have designers who are working in the stores, so they can really get you started. Sometimes I have clients who are just doing a bathroom and they have the tile. Our designers know the palettes backwards and forwards, so they can help pull color. This is where you see the paper, right? So if I have a client asking me after we do a whole scheme for their house and they want a paper to coordinate, this is where you come, because this is where you can go through the books and find something that speaks to you. But, from the designer sitting here to the guys behind the counter, the women behind the counter, they know the product. And oftentimes people just need to understand some of the products. So even for the clients who are doing it themselves, if you want to paint your vanity because it's outdated, they're going to tell you how to prep it, how to prime it, how to do everything to get from start to finish and be successful.
And I also learned today that the local store here also works with a lot of local businesses here. So if you're designing a room and you need a sofa, they have referrals and business relationships with those other companies too. And it's not just the Northbrook store, but all the locations have those local business connections.
Yeah, JC Licht is a local business. So this is the perfect place where you connect all the dots. And, we have incredible window treatment in-home services too. So that's a great place. It's like windows and walls can really make a home. So it's great. Yeah, we do like to support local as well.
Yes, so thank you. If you'd like to work with Julie, call the Benjamin Moore JC Licht store in Northbrook, and they can connect you with Julie. And they have designers, and we'll get your project going. So thank you. Good luck. These are the kinds of invaluable insights I share with my clients when they choose to work with me. Hire me today.